Hi, this is Marie, and today we're going to do a 3 Copic technique for intense shading. And I'm using this super cute image by Paper Smooches called Southwest Charm. We stamped the image on Express It, a very super smooth paper. I love it, with Memento ink, Tuxedo black, and you get a nice crisp black color. I colored this image 3 times. First, using just the same blending family, the natural. Second, with a warm gray for shading. Looks very similar. And the third, using the complement. This is one of my favorite, and this is one that I'll be actually demonstrating for you today. But I'm going to show you how all 3 look. If we take out the shading guide, it's a Marianne Walker guide from her book, Shadows and Shading. And we look at our light source, which would be coming from your upper right-hand side. If I would take my highlight, which was my yellow, green 1-1, I'll have it where the line begins to touch the image. That is all highlight in every body part that may be sticking up some. And where the lines leave, that again will be the shadow. And the YG13 will be about 70% of the image, which would be the midtone. The shadow again would be the YG17. If I want to add intense shading, I'm going to take my last number and keep that the same if possible. And then the first number, I'll go up 2, 3, or 4 numbers. This one worked well. For my second, I'm not going to use the intense YG67. I'm going to use the W6. You could use W7, I just don't have it, but the W6 will work just fine. And for the third one, I'm using that same green family, only I'm using the complement. That is R27, or I'm going to actually use R37. So now let me show you how this works. If we take our dark shadow, which is yellow-green 1-7, then I'm going to take a really intense one, leaving the last number the same, the 7. I'm going to actually bump this up some to a Y-green 6-7. And then you sandwich that in between your shadow. Now we're going to try it again with a warm gray. You have your shadow. Then we're going to take a W6. If I had a 7, I would use it, but I don't know where my W7 is. So we sandwich this in between your shadow color, and then you're going to put your gray, then you put your shadow color on top again. It makes a sandwich in between, kind of cushions it. You will want to always use your shadow on top of your gray, because the gray floats to the top and it will be too noticeable. Now I'm going to show you a complement with a lighter red, which is a 2-7. Again, the second number remaining the same. And for your extreme shading, you're not going to want to do a lot of this. It's only to be used in the very darkest part of your shadow. So I'm going to now sample for you what I will be demonstrating, which will be the R37. I like this one better. You know, the 3-7 has more gray in it than the 2-7. Using this very sparingly so it won't just jump out at you quite so much. I really like the looks of this when we use it. Now I'm stamping my image again with Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm just going to apply a base coat for smooth blending with my highlight very lightly. Do not want to go over it many times because it will darken your highlight, lay down more and more particles. This is my yellow green 1-1. Just very, very light, remembering where our highlights and our shadows are. And I'm mapping out where I'm going to want my shadows with my Midtone yellow green 1-3. Just under that little belly area, the underside of the tail, the part where the face, the little head is casting a shadow on the leg. So if you see that, those are the areas we're wanting to darken. The head is rounded, so we're going to get at that cylindrical look by shadowing the outer edges, but you'll notice on the right side I'm shadowing very little of that because it's getting the more direct light source, more so than on your left side. And we're just darkening that now with our shadow side, our G yellow green 1-7. The image is not that large, so be careful when you're flicking toward your highlight you don't get too much dark. And we're blending out with our mid-tone a little, making sure we're reserving enough for our highlight. You'll notice the right side is not as shadow as the left. He's coming along so cute. I love this little guy. Think of all the things you could do with this cute little image. And now we're going to just flick with our highlight. I like to clean off the highlight frequently so I don't transfer a lot of the darker into my highlight. I like that contrast. That's why we're doing intense shading, is so we can really demonstrate high contrast. Now I'm going to take just a tiny bit of my complement. Red is a complement to green, the opposite side of your color wheel. And I'm just putting a little bit in the very darkest areas. And then I'm going over the top of that with my shadow color, my yellow green 1-7, right on top of it, because you want to sandwich it in. You want to have your shadow, your contrast, and your shadow. See how nice that blends it? You would never know there's red in there. It almost brings it to a dark, dark brown. Now we're flicking out with our mid-tone, our yellow green 1-3. Flicking toward the highlight, but reserving your highlight so that you still have your contrast. And then we're going to continue to flick from the outer edge with our very lightest, our yellow green 1-1. Isn't he cute? Don't you love the face? Just flicking. See how nice that complement gave a really intense shadow. You did not want to use a lot. Less is more when you're trying to get a lot of contrast. It makes the image pop so much more if you don't overuse it. Now I'm just going to show you how I'm just going to put a little red ton in here with R21 and R27. Blend it out with my 2-1. And I like to put a little bit of blue around the outer edges of the eyes. I think it makes them look a little more rounded. You could use gray if you chose to. And now I think just for fun, I'm going to add a little bit of a maroon colored bloodshot eyes to this little guy. Just a little bit coming out here and there, just to add a kind of a fun thing to this image. And if we look at our light source and at our shadows, we're pretty consistent. Where the light is first touching each part of the anatomy, it's lighter, and as it's leaving, say, the head, it's darker. As it's leaving the leg, it's darker. We're pretty consistent, and we have our three little images there with our different techniques. If you're trying the contrast, do the opposite side from the color, and I think you can have a lot of fun with this technique. Give it a try. Don't give up. Use it sparingly. Thank you.